most clear. Welcome everyone to the South Russell Village Council meeting. Today is Monday, October the 14th, 2024. Please join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Thank you all for being here. Fiscal officer will take the roll.
Bell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Belushi.
Here.
Porter.
Here. We have minutes from our meeting on September 23rd. These are the regular council minute meetings. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Moved by Kavanaugh, seconded by Canton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes have been approved. We are now at our visitor section. Visitors, just to remind you, we give you 5 minutes to speak. After 3 minutes, I'll stick up 2 fingers to say, trying to wrap it up. We may have comments or questions at the end. We may not. Do we have a visitor who would like to speak tonight?
Yes.
Okay, Karen, you know the routine. Name and address, please.
Yep, I'm Carrie Schloss, 290 Hickory Hill Road. And I'm here today to talk again about the Mayor's Committee for Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport. So we're here today to ask to become an official ad hoc committee. And just to remind, I just want to refresh everyone's memory about what our committee is working on and what our goal is. Our goal is to evaluate and plan for safe bicycle and pedestrian transport through community engagement, safety education, and infrastructure improvements. The first thing that we're working on, which we're working on right now, is a community survey, trying to understand the needs of the community and bring that information forward. We have a couple of duties of the community, which is to develop a safe bicycle and pedestrian access plan. We want to engage and learn from the community about bicycle and pedestrian safety needs, and then make recommendations about the selection of bicycle and pedestrian projects that we could submit for state and federal grant funding opportunities. We'd also like to work with staff to promote bicycling and walking as safe and healthy modes of transportation, including safe routes to schools, and assist in planning, operations, and maintenance of bicycle and pedestrian facilities in the village.
Thank you. Questions from council? You said that much better than I could. Okay, anybody else from the visitors would like to speak? Okay, we're now to the mayor's report. First thing on the mayor's report is what we just talked about. I would like to pass a motion to establish an ad hoc committee to make recommendations for walking, biking trails throughout the village. Can somebody make that motion, please?
So moved.
So moved by Bell, seconded by Canton. Discussion. Basically what you heard is this huge idea which will just get funneled down through a process of discussions, meetings, just trial and error to eventually, I think the committee's going to come here with a recommendation. But we want to look at this. We have people willing to look at it. It's a huge idea. There's pros and cons. And there's money and different things available. And that's why I think it's just get this ad hoc committee going and we'll get going and see where we end up.
There's one sticking thing with that, Mayor. We have to have one council person on it
Okay.
who wants to raise their hand, and I apologize, I'm not doing it. You'll do it, Chris Bell?
I don't know if that's, is that true? Is that accurate?
That was in the minutes.
I don't think that's accurate.
I don't know that it's a requirement,
It
but
is
it
not.
certainly doesn't prevent a council member from being on the committee.
Sure, of course, but it is not a requirement.
So if Chris is volunteering.
If you need one, I can be your guy. If
Take
not,
that
I can
into
be your guy.
consideration.
I think, Ruth, I think you're right in a little bit, because it used to be with the park committee, we stuck one council member, they had to do the park and and the property. And then I think Jerry's kind of jumped in. That's why both of you have been helping out
Okay.
on the park committee.
But keep in mind, the park committee is a completely separate
Yes,
ordinance, codified ordinance, different than an ad hoc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we actually put down the establishment of the members in there to include a councilman.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
as I recall, the chair of properties served on the park committee.
I believe so, but again, that's in the establishment of the
ordinance.
committee.
yeah.
Different than an ad hoc, but you certainly can have a member of council.
We don't want to establish a tight, like the park committee goes on forever. We want to just deal with the ad hoc. That's what we're after here tonight.
So just a couple of housekeeping things. How would you, you'd want in the newsletter as an ad hoc committee to do this community survey?
Yeah, we would like, we'd like to be able to advertise our meetings in the newsletter so we can get more community engagement because we want to be inclusive of all ideas and really represent what the community is thinking on this. We'd also like to get our survey out as broadly as possible. So if we could get that in the newsletter, that would be great, but we will use other channels as well.
And so would they return to you like by email?
Yeah, the surveys, we either will do it, we're exploring two platforms right now. One is Google Forms, and that just comes into a Google Drive account, and then the other would be SurveyMonkey.
Okay,
And then we would share the results back with council.
okay.
You mentioned grant opportunities and things of that nature. Is there any reason would that be a recommendation to council, or do you envision the committee engaging in that process on its own?
Yeah, I think it could be both. I think that's kind of, we would work with you all to see what works. We do have some people on our committee who are skilled grant writers. And so we can definitely help with content. Sometimes the applications have to come from a jurisdiction themselves. And so I think it would depend on what the grant opportunity was.
So I think that the ad hoc committee could prepare the application, but I think it would still have to get council's approval to actually apply.
I wouldn't be comfortable with an ad hoc committee applying for grants. I think honestly, you're probably going to do all the dirty work and then coming to us and we would do it. Yeah, I don't want somebody out there applying for grants with our name without us.
My
I
concern,
want our thumb on top of that.
I agree with that. My concern is if the committee had the authority to go out for a grant, that commits the village, if it gets the grant, to follow through with the grant. And I'm not sure the council wants to do that.
Or maybe the property owners,
Well, that too,
yeah.
but I think council would have to have approval authority for that in order for a grant to be applied for.
Okay, so
you
yes,
can
we
do the legwork for it.
bring recommendations forward.
Yes.
Yep, and we can also help with content. I think that was part of it is like, writing what the purpose is and being able to help with preparation, but.
Any other comments or questions?
I have one. What is the name of the ad hoc committee?
What do you guys want to name it?
That's a long name that I'm going to suggest we shrink. We wanted to say the Mayor's Committee now, or the Safe Routes Committee.
What we have is the Committee for Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport.
That's not too bad.
Can you repeat that?
Committee for Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport.
Thank you.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that'll work.
Okay.
Better than the bike people.
Just starting out here, if we get this approved in about another 10 seconds, there's a lot of talent and a lot of thoughts going into what has been done already. So I think we're off to a good start. Chris Bell, thank you for stepping forward.
Sure, absolutely.
We appreciate it. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Congratulations. You're very capable of sitting here for another couple hours. Or thank you for coming, whatever.
One question, when's your first meeting?
So we've had a couple meetings already.
First official ad hoc
As
committee.
we're gonna have a meeting this Thursday at 8:30, but it's going to be a shorter meeting, it's just 8:30 to 9,
AM,
in this room, yeah.
Village Hall.
And can I ask, what's the purpose of the meeting?
Yeah, so we're trying to get the survey out. So this meeting will be about survey distribution, if we have the survey prepared for distribution. If not, it will be finalizing the survey questions and refining. Yeah, and does council need, as an ad hoc committee, does council need approval of the survey before it goes out?
If it comes with our name on it, yes, we will want,
Okay.
Danielle,
yeah, we want the thumb on top of everything.
do these meetings have to be sunshine,
100%.
They are
Yes.
public-
That's why I was asking.
public meetings?
I'm assuming that Thursdays are not going to be necessarily your regular meeting every single Thursday at 8:30. So this is like a special meeting of the ad hoc committee, and we have to post the purpose. That's why I was asking.
Okay.
Do they need to keep minutes?
Yes, they do. Yep, all of
Those
it.
get
Fun
submitted
stuff.
to Danielle thereafter.
Yes, please.
Okay,
You can give me a call if you want this week and I'll explain what you have to do in terms of setting up the meetings and that to make it easier.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Then Danielle, can you provide my contact information to Carrie?
Is this
I won't be able to
something,
make this Thursday, unfortunately, I'll be out of town, but
Okay,
keep me in the
is
loop.
this something we can send out by an
thank you
e-blast?
so much.
Absolutely.
Say that again.
Send out an e-blast?
For this committee meeting?
Yeah.
You can, if that's what you want to
For
do.
advertising purposes, right? You want people to show up if they have input. This is the first meeting of the official
Right.
ad hoc bicycle and pedestrian transportation
Yes.
committee.
Committee for Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian
I missed the
Transport.
safe part, okay.
I think we need to come up with a clever acronym, I can work on that.
Absolutely.
It sounds like bike.
okay. Anything else? All right, next.
Thank you.
I'd like council to pass a motion approving my appointment of Christy Troyer as a part-time administrative assistant pending passage of the usual requirements. So someone would make a motion for that. We could
So
talk. Moved by Canton, seconded by,
Second.
I heard Berger. All right, I met with Christy last Thursday. I checked her references last Friday. I think she's met with many people in this room already. Who would like to talk about her? Anybody want to talk about?
I can do it, or Danielle can. We had her at HR. She is recently retired and looking for, and has been an administrative person with many responsibilities. Looking for something in the 20-ish hour and is good with that. She met with the police chief. She met with buildings. I'm not sure if she met with streets guys, no. And so she would be a little bit of a floater. And we were all duly impressed with her skill and her experience.
Anybody else? Okay,
Has the wage been set?
Yeah, if I think so, I don't know what the mayor talked to her.
I didn't talk to her about wages at all. Just want to wait and see if she gets through the
Background.
background in the drug alcohol test, or the physical test that she has to go through.
So this is a conditional offer? or-
Yes,
All new employees need to pass a drug test and a background test, background check, but as long as she passes those, then, if you agree to it, we would hire her, and I believe the rate, the pay was $20.60 an hour, right?
$20.60,
Yes.
So she'll receive an official offer letter after we move forward here.
Yeah, if you guys approve it, then she'll, once she passes her drug test and that, then there's a letter we prepare listing everything for her, and then her and the mayor will sign off on it.
okay. Only other comment, this situation concerns me, sharing So I've asked the HR, I think it's HR and somebody else, if we could meet, there's an HR committee, I think next Monday at 10, that if the people involved could meet at 11 to talk about how this sharing situation is going to go. Chief, Danielle, to be there, just so we're all communicating the same message.
Does that include the streets department as well? As a potential location for her to?
Might as well come and meet her. We'll figure this out, Tim. All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, third motion. You have in your packet a thing from Lifeline. Lifeline started in 2020. They've asked for a letter of support, which I wrote in 2019. They want another letter, and I have a copy of that letter. It's the second to the last page in the Lifeline packet. If you approve that, we can send that off.
I read it. I can't.
Okay, we could get a motion to approve my letter of support for Lifeline.
Do I not have it? So moved.
Moved by Kavanaugh,
Second.
second by Porter. Discussion.
I'm still looking for the documents, sorry.
It's on the very last of your packet, second to the last page.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
You want to read through it, or we can
No,
come
go
back?
ahead.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Any questions on the mayor's report? One last thing on the mayor's report. Craig Cars, he was a South Russell resident, he was a business owner. He died. His funeral will be Thursday at 4 o'clock at Federated Church. He was a landscape architect. He had an office on East Washington, across the street from Panini's. His specialty was basically water control. That I would deal with him with water control. If you saw his office building, it's hidden back across from Panini. As I said, it's across from Panini's. But he was into the brick pavers where you could handle the water coming through. Was very successful with that. He was big with the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital. Some of his work you can see down at the clinic main campus, and some of his work is out on East Washington also. And some of his work is behind us. He did the architecture, the laying out of the landscaping of Kensington Pond and the hills and everything right behind us. He closed his office, sold his business, and then he went to join CT. I enjoyed dealing with Craig because he was great, frankly, for free advice. I would meet him at Burntwood, buy him a salmon salad, and I would come in carrying blueprints or proposals. Frankly, he was my check on Chagrin River watershed partner. I would hear what they had to say, and I would hear what he thought before we even got CT involved. He had a different way of looking at things. He got involved with the park, the playground, trees at the playground. In fact, he bought a tree at the playground. He and his second wife, they moved to Manabrook a few years ago. And just like many people living in South Russell, he lived downhill, and he had to eventually create all around his condominium a French drain because the water came down. And he laughed. He laughed. I don't know how he could. How the water would come down and run through his patio door, that he could never get away from water. Again, he was a great guy, and I think he's going to be missed.
Yes, if I can make a comment. He and his wife lived in our condo community, and when I was president of our HOA, he was on my board, and he was a great man. And he also did the landscaping at the Manabrook condos when they were initially built.
Okay, fiscal officer, the floor is yours.
Alrighty. I distributed a report to mayor and council. Were there any questions? I did want to remind everybody that the budget worksheets, I need them by Monday, the 21st by noon, so I can get everything put together for the budget work session, which will take place on Monday, October 28th at 5:30 before the council meeting, and we will have dinner at 5 o'clock. I put in my report just as a reminder for the ARPA funds, if you remember, that's the money we got, that we did the retention pond over here, and all that money was very specific what it could be spent for because it's federal funding. So after we pay that last bill, we're gonna have approximately $11,000 left that will have to be spent by year end for the appropriate expenses. So I don't know if the engineer has anything else that you can come up with, or we'll have to look at how to spend that money.
So within the next 2 months?
Yeah, let's talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Danielle, could that money be used for the solar project?
No,
No.
but we used it for the stormwater. It's very specific what it can be used for. So I'll talk to Eric and see what we can come up with.
Can we beautify out there a little bit?
They have, no, it was for water control, not
Yeah,
beautification.
they're pretty specific on what you can and can't use.
And it's federal funding, so it does get audited specifically that you meet all that criteria.
Could the trees we just put in on Manor qualify?
No.
No.
It has to stay with this project?
No, it can be any infrastructure improvement for storm or sanitary that improves the infrastructure for storm and sanitary. Planting trees, no. Doing some landscaping and beautifying, no. It actually has to have a quantitative, physical improvement.
The drainage we did around the playground,
Maybe.
Or any of the culvert work we did?
Culvert work, yes.
We have that Bell Road East.
We have to, you're right, because we're gonna have a local share, Danielle, we're gonna have a local share of that. Half of that is gonna be local share. I think we'd be able to offset a good deal of our local share.
So we'll have to talk with the solicitor this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Also Fairview.
Yeah,
What about the culvert work on Manor
which culvert work on Manor Road?
The-
Oh, that was, the inlet basin reconstructions?
Yeah,
Maybe. I think our best bet would be the Bell East culvert. And we'll certainly be able to use $11,000 to offset a local share there.
There we go.
All right.
Good.
Well, that's what we spent 20 days now. I just wanted to tell you, so for the September, I gave you the financial summary of the month. So for the month of September, we're down 178,000, but year-to-date, we're up 979. But I did write almost $450,000 of checks today for road program and that. So just so you realize, I mean, for the year, we're up, but our balances are gonna be going down now because we got all our real estate money in for the year. The other thing I wanted to note was, for the revenue on my report, I printed the report before I got the last, statement for interest. So the interest for the month of September was $10,216, not the $49.34 that was on the report. I wanted to know too, is anybody using the, shared calendar we set up for meetings? Because we were using on Google. And so Leslie, so when we do sunshine notices, so when you guys do a meeting and then change a meeting and then add another, there's like a lot of behind the scenes sunshine notices that have to go out. So, and then we put it on the calendar, the newspapers have to be notified, we put it on the village's calendar. So if nobody's using the shared calendar, then we're just gonna take that off. So we don't, because that's the internal one amongst you. But I'm assuming most of you use the online South Russell calendar. So the most stop using that one because it's just more work. And I did want to point out that Leslie has been covering for the building department for her time off. She had some time off, and as well as working on quite a big public records request. So, and then trying to manage that while working here. So once Christy starts, that would be beneficial. And Mayor, you did ask that we put something in the newsletter about the bridge being closed in Chagrin, but there's no more newsletter. So did you want us to send an e-blast out?
No, I think that's been well covered.
Okay.
Mayor Tomko just wanted to make sure everybody knew that they're going to shut down Chagrin the 22nd through November the 3rd. The road will be completely shut down again.
You mean Main Street?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
The bridge.
The bridge.
Where will the pumpkins roll to?
Probably two there. If they're,
To the big pit at the bottom.
That's a good question. Will it hit?
with two young
Yes.
sons, of course, they would.
It doesn't go that
They
far.
don't do that.
And then the last thing is I gave everybody the reserve study, because I figure it affects everybody, so everybody should have some input. But I don't know, Chris, when you wanted them to get that back to finance to kind of go through all.
Okay, so I have briefly looked through the reserve study. I will admit that. I've not read it thoroughly, but I think it's a good first start. So, from my perspective, and I think it raises a whole bunch of questions. So, the problem is if there's a recommendation in the reserve study to start a fund for future maintenance items of the village, which should be done as part of our budgeting process on the 28th. But that gives you 2 weeks to digest the study, which is not going to happen.
It's huge.
67
There's
pages.
a lot of information there. And so I think, first of all, take the time to go through it, okay? I'm not saying with a fine tooth comb, but just to familiarize yourself with what it's trying to tell you and start jotting questions. Because I'm sure they've made assumptions based upon what they thought they heard that probably wasn't what we intended to tell them, et cetera, et cetera. But we need to start that direction, and then finance will meet, and then if you have questions, please feed those questions to finance, and we'll start to try to figure out how to get our hands around it. But I think it's a very valuable approach, I hope.
Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
This deals with the property. I just was setting up committees for next year, and I was sliding Councilman Berger to property committee since this is his baby. Is this more of a finance issue or is it a property issue?
It's a property and facilities issue to start with. And so, and then recommendations obviously to finance.
So if we started with property,
That's fine.
that'd be a good beginning.
Mhm.
All right, so you can't get away from it now.
Thanks.
That's all I have.
Questions of a fiscal officer? Hearing none, the finance committee.
And I'm gonna ask the fiscal officer, okay, remind me, our next meeting I have is on the 17th, is that correct?
Yes,
At 10 a.m.?
correct.
Got one right, all right. Other than that, Finance Committee has nothing to report, subject to Councilman Galicki's comments.
Nothing to add, Chris.
Okay, questions of the finance committee? Solicitor, floor is yours.
I have nothing to report.
Questions of the solicitor? Hearing none. Engineer, floor is yours.
Just two quick things. One of them we're gonna be addressing in a couple of minutes, about closing out the road program for specialized construction. Our awarding amount was $316,075. We came in well below that, less $17,331.57, for a final contract amount of $298,743.43. And with a little bit of unsing, we got Specialized to submit their final invoices and their final doc package so we can close them out in the year they actually performed the work. So I guess win for us. We got a good road program out of it, and we got a speedy close to the road program. The only other thing is, I am starting to do setup forms and scope for Bell Road, East paving for next year. I'm assuming, pending some future discussions with Streets Committee, that is going to be our road program. But that's, I've already got the ball rolling for that, so.
She on Bell Road East wants that to be the road program next year.
It's a conflict of interest.
I'm staying.
Noted. Any other questions from council?
Yes, is the proper term chip seal?
Yes,
We should.
absolutely.
Okay, we should have done that on Bell Road West.
We should have done that on Bell Road West. It wasn't allowed at the time, but I think I have found a way to get it into Bell Road East because it does really go a long way in, I guess, extending the longevity of the asphalt surface. So it's not something that ODOT does, or not, and it's not part of their like standard programming, but in talking with the county engineer, I'm pretty sure I got it licked, like we're gonna get it in there.
So it's not gonna be an out-of-pocket, and it's not gonna be us.
No, it's not gonna be us that has to do it. We'll obviously have to pay our local share portion of any work, but I think I got a way to get that in the scope and get it funded.
Are you confident that by earmarking all our funds for Bell Road East, that the roads that might have been paved are in such a shape that they could?
We can get another year out of things, yeah.
I think that's because, in part, we've been putting $650,000 year by year.
Correct, you've kind of been getting ahead, and the crack sealing program that you guys do is fantastic, and it really goes a long way in preserving the life of the roads, especially as they get toward the end of their lives, so please keep on doing that.
Eric, is Bell Road East and West suitable for reclamite at some point?
Maybe, I hesitate to say yes right off the bat, because it's different. Bell East and Bell West have a different character than almost all of our other roads in that the traffic counts are so high. The state doesn't apply reclamite to any of their state routes, but that's, I think, more a function of speed limit. But I have to look into that before I give you a concrete answer on that one way or another.
We've had success with the reclamites that we've done so far,
Yep,
but those are much lower speed roads.
and much lower traffic count.
And I recall the ODOT study that talked about reclamite. It was primarily speed-based.
Yeah, right.
Below a certain speed, reclamite was okay, but you don't see it on state highways or the interstates because the speed is so much higher.
Right, it tends to, at least in the first handful of years after application, reduce the coefficient of friction between the tires and the road.
So what
especially
would be
when-
like a speed limit above that you wouldn't use reclamite?
I don't know off the top of my head, I'm not gonna give you an answer without looking at it.
So an unscientific survey from my kitchen window, and I'm actually trucks barrel down there.
Yeah, I know, that's why, it's probably, if you look at the state of Ohio Traffic Department studies and all of the literature, I would assume it's like 30 or 35 miles an hour.
They're going 50.
But just because we have a posted speed of, 35 miles an hour on Bell Road East doesn't mean the actual traffic speed is 35 or less. So that's why I'm hedging on if reclamite is applicable for Bell Road East.
I seem to recall 40, and not that anybody would ever exceed the speed limit in South Russell Village.
Now we're trying to find the police department enforcing it now, but it might happen on a case-by-case basis.
Just a thought, just in case, we can extend the life of both of those,
Yeah, right.
both sections of that road by 4 or 5 years. We save a ton of money over time.
We do save a ton of money over time, that's why we're doing it, but I don't know if those sections of roads are something I'd recommend for reclamite.
Perhaps a topic for the next street committee meeting.
Absolutely.
Two comments. One, I'm gonna ask the street commissioner, can you check with Auburn? It looks to me like it looked like East Washington had reclamite on it, because they had put the new lines down, but the lines are all, looked like they were covered up with tar. So take a look, maybe I'm on the wrong location, but I think it looked like it was on East Washington. The lines, I guess, weren't crisp. The white line on the side, the yellow lines, that looked like somebody wanted to reclamite over it. Maybe it's just
over it, or maybe they use the really cheap striping, and striping has a tendency to fade very rapidly if you just use a cheap paint stripe on a new asphalt road. Boy, they don't last. So it could be that too.
They're also grinding those roads where they actually apply the paint. So they're grinding it, putting rumble strips in.
Okay.
That could make affect the view of it.
You know, the other thing, engineer, maybe you know more about it than I do, but I understand that the EPA recently banned the use of reflective material in road striping. So that back in the day, not too long ago, when you had white lines, it used to pop because you had light reflective material in it, but now it's environmentally hazardous.
I
So
like it.
You're 100% right that the formulation of both the binder and the pigment material of the roadway paint, it has been changing and will continue to change as years come. There's a couple of, I'm going to say, newer products, but they're not all that new. It's just everyone's slow to adopt the new stuff. With like epoxy-based paints and things like that some of my municipal clients are kind of looking into. But yeah, there's
if the lines seem less vibrant, that could also be.
It absolutely could be that as well.
You're still throwing down glass beads afterwards, though.
Right, there
Not on the
was,
lines, but on the turn side.
yeah, there was a similar, remember a handful of years ago when we had to replace all of our road signs for the retro reflectivity requirement? There were some of the paint bases that had some kind of retro reflective ingredient in them, and that's exactly what Councilman Galicki is referring to. And yet the EPA has tightened their restrictions
Because they
on
make
use
it
that
so
because
much
it
more
was
safe.
harmful in the production in some ways.
Except for when it's raining on black asphalt.
Right.
when you really need it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of the results of,
It is.
you know,
Or guys.
it probably makes it less safe because the visibility is reduced.
Right, safer for the frogs, less safe for the humans.
Anything else for the streets? Compliment to Specialized, the Southwick job. I don't know, maybe everyone in Southwick's really happy, but between the Southwick and the culverts, people were very happy with how the job was done. The culverts went in, the grass growing, and the fact that you went around, and Chelsea Court was probably one of the worst jobs that happened. Chelsea Court's right off of it, and going in there and brimming. It was really, has helped the people who felt they got an inferior road felt much better about it because they were not happy, and we did the best we could, and Specialized did the best we could, but it really helped make everybody feel good in that neighborhood.
Good, I think our project turned out fantastically, and they have every reason to be happy. I am too.
Street Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Under my report, I don't have anything additional.
Oh, I'm seated. Hydro seated, Chelsea, thank you, okay. All right, questions of the Street Commissioner? Street Committee.
Street Committee, there's a bunch of projects going on. The engineer reported on our last meeting. Just of note, Fairview Culvert Project received OPWC funding. Your final apps are due in a couple of weeks, November 1st, right? Hold on, I got a bunch of things on here. Bell Road East Culvert, the estimate was $140,000. The actual cost came in at $118,430. We've received a $70,000 OPWC grant for this. So that cuts it significantly, and there's an opportunity to use some of that grant money we spoke of earlier. So that project may continue to go down in cost, so that's good. The Hemlock Road culvert replacement, the estimate was $92,000. We received a $46,200 OPWC grant, and the remaining balance will be split between South Russell and Russell Township. But that work cannot be done until after July 1st of next year because of the OPWC grant. So some good opportunities we're taking advantage of. The committee discussed the Cintas contract we talked about the last meeting. Tim did some research and found what the committee believes is a good alternative to the Cintas. The question would be if we are bound by a Cintas contract or not. Correct me if I got this wrong, Tim. He spoke with the folks at Arborwear. You can get us a package of 10 pants and 10 shirts and a hoodie for $1,352.25 each. We could launder the uniforms here because we already have a washer and dryer. And the idea would be that maybe purchase a package for the employees every other year. Also, the floor runners we could purchase and just clean them as needed through the service department. And last we talked, you were getting in contact with Shop Towels from Chagrin Falls.
I haven't gotten all the information back on how their supplier, but they do their own towels. They bring them, they buy them, source them, wash them. If they are beyond what their washer can handle, they just pitch them and find them.
So I think with Tim's research, we're finding an alternative way to take care of the needs we have, but at a lesser cost overall over the years.
I think, well, at $1,300 roughly a person, every other year we're saving. And then on top of that, just the appearance of the guys. And all these uniforms come with decals front and back. Our insignias, where currently their shirts don't have that from Cintas.
Chris, you mentioned that we can wash the uniforms, right?
Correct.
Does this company offer the option of wash?
No, so it's not a uniform company like Cintas is. We're just buying package from the clothing manufacturer down the road here on 306. And then right now we've learned Cintas isn't picking up uniforms and cleaning them anyway because no one's taking advantage of it. So we're paying for something we're not using.
So the upshot is we're spending what, $8,000 a year on Cintas, thereabouts?
I think it was 8,700, wasn't it, for rugs and uniforms?
So it's a savings of approximately $6,000 a year if we go the direction the street commissioners and the street committee is recommending. The question for the solicitor is, I seem to remember a notice termination provision in the Cintas contract, but I don't remember what it said. I don't know if it's 30 days or 60 days or something like that. But this will come up at the next street committee meeting, and a recommendation will follow as to whether or not we should proceed with the village terminating the Cintas contract and going along with the street commissioner's plan.
So can I ask, have we paid any invoices since the new contract was signed?
Mm-hmm.
And do we pay it at the old amount?
They charge per uniform per thing, and the price per uniform hasn't really changed much.
Okay.
Chris, once we purchase the uniforms, we're responsible for the maintenance of the uniforms, such as if a button is missing or a tear?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that cost was, what, $1,300 per
1350.
employee for 2 years.
$1,352.25 per guy.
Every other year.
And so my thought would be every other year to purchase new for them.
Okay.
So every other year you have roughly what, 5,000, give or take. Instead of the 8,700, and then use the difference to supply our med cabinet, eye wash station, like they do in the PD.
You also have to purchase mats, correct, as well.
That's true.
So hopefully not every other year.
The cleaner, Tim, had given me some information where to buy some mats, or we can Amazon the mats, honestly. That's an option, also an option.
Do we have a washer dryer?
We do. We currently do. We would have to buy it so along the way, but I mean, minor costs.
It's overrated.
Okay. Or still yours, Chris.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about the salt storage shed, house, whatever we're calling it? I noticed it was in the packet, it was all the
Right.
engineering drawings and whatnot. And the street committee was pondering whether to authorize the mayor and the engineer and fiscal officer to get quotes for this project in advance of next year. So at least for budgetary purposes, we have good number for what this project might cost. And I don't know that there's any impediment for us asking for quotes on this project based on the drawings the engineer has, and then using that information for budgeting purposes, and then at some point down the road to bid it out. I think that's what we're thinking, right?
Absolutely. Nothing binding, just.
Is there any reason we can't do that, Solicitor?
But we will at the end of the day bid it out.
Yes.
Okay. And don't we already have kind of a number in our mind? Or maybe it was one.
$700 and some odd $1,000, yeah.
It is indeed a kind of number.
But it was it's a estimate, was just a kind of number, like.
Okay.
So, but we have none that are based on the bid spec.
Correct.
Yes, so if we put it out to quotes, we're not bound to anything, but we'll have better budgeting numbers.
And we don't have to publicly share the results of those quotes. If when you bid, that becomes, that's a public bid, it's, that we open the bids and we post the results of the bids. If you just get a quote, you don't necessarily have to.
You do?
I
It's a
think it's
public
still
document.
public,
Do-
unfortunately.
Do you have to post those?
I know, you do not
Okay,
have to
but if
post it.
someone asks for them.
Correct.
It'd be a public record, so they would be entitled to see it
Will you be providing the bid specs for these, with
Sure.
these requests?
with
quotes?
the drawings.
Almost have to, yeah.
Yeah.
To get an accurate quote.
Right.
So could you do that in 2 weeks when the budget comes together?
We have the final spec packages now, but we could do it tomorrow. Just ask certain vendors, suppliers, builders, or a quote, how much would it cost for you to build this?
We should probably do this by motion, Solicitor. Yeah. Should I do that now, Mayor, or?
Yeah, this is good. You good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'd like to move that, the mayor, fiscal officer, and engineer are authorized to, solicit quotes for the salt storage facility to be built by the village next year, and obtain, quotes from a variety of suppliers who would be interested. So moved.
Second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go out to bid. Salt mill.
No, it wasn't for bid, it was for quotes.
Wow.
Okay.
It's them, not us.
A couple more things. I'll do the second bullet point here on our agenda. The street commissioner has presented us with, we asked for a tire machine and balancer. He has the money in his budget, but since it's over $3,000, you need approval from us. It's $3,899. This will eliminate the need to take the tires off-site. Right now, that takes about 2 hours of labor for someone to drive it out there, wait, and then bring it back. So they'll cut that lost labor time as well and cost. So with that, I'd like to make Tim, she has an amount for 4,600. I have 3,899.
I think that was combined with the, because it's the same size, isn't it? It's both Fisher.
I don't know, that's what you had in the.
Did you combine both separate deals or one?
Well, in the PO request, it was just for the 4,600.
You know what it was, 42, yes, because they included wheel weights, all the necessary wheel weights.
That's right. So
Yeah.
$4,200?
As well, we can't, you know, so we can, when we balance, we have to.
Okay,
It's not really useful without them.
includes the wheel weights, okay.
So 4,200 is the real number?
4,600.
Yes,
And the money's in the budget, correct?
yes,
Okay, who's the vendor again? Fisher?
fish.
I'd like to make a motion to allow the street commissioner and fiscal officer to purchase a tire machine and balancer from Fisher and the wheel weights as well for not to exceed $4,600. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? It's gonna be saving labor time and having it all in-house. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
And lastly, as the engineer alluded to, we are making our final payment on the 2024 road program. So I'd like to make a motion to approve construction progress payment application number 1 final to Specialized Construction, Inc. in the amount of $298,743.43 for the 2024 road program. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Nice job again, Eric.
Mark, do you have anything else you want to add?
Just one question. For the Fairview culvert project, do we have anything in writing yet from OPWC or the county?
Yes. This said, we made the cut, please submit your final application. Yeah, and I'm halfway through the final application now.
And at some point, we'll get a letter from
For
OPWC.
OPWC saying, here's the project agreement, please execute and sign this, yeah.
Because at that point, I'd like to be able to go to Russell and update the township trustees that this is moving along.
Sure.
And that we will ultimately have a final number and plans.
Correct.
And at that point, they can commit or not to have the remaining costs.
I can copy you on the OPWC final app, just so you have that. I mean, that's another step. After the final app is submitted, they take generally some months, and then they start issuing project agreements. And you'll get the project agreement, I'll get copied on that. So that's another step, so, yep.
If mayor and council don't object, I'll continue to move a little along with Russell on this topic. So that's fine by me, Eric.
Okay, good.
Okay, any other questions of the street committee?
I want to circle back real quick. So street commissioner, we approved purchase of containers. Did we not?
No,
No.
we're waiting on it.
We're waiting?
We wanted some prices on it,
Okay,
and that's them. Just because of the time frame that it's taken to get back to this, they'll have to reprice, they're only giving prices for a couple.
okay.
But I do have.
So that project is still in process?
Yeah, if you look at the print on the salt dome,
Mhm.
print, you see they included the containers, how they would orient in salt dome, because that was a question that we kind of had before.
Okay.
What would we do with them after the fact? They're drawn in the portion.
So they go in these side things?
They have them so they could go in the inside end to end.
Okay, I see.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, I have one more question. I'm sorry, Tim. Do we have any update on the bathroom for the park, the status?
That's gonna come on the property committee.
Okay, never mind. I'll let the property committee ask that same question.
Okay.
Still
All
in
right.
the thunder.
No other questions of the street committee? Chris, you're still up. Building committee.
Building committee, we met on the 10th, emailed out the minutes to everyone, and they're on your desk this evening. Our next meeting is Thursday, November the 14th at 8 a.m. in the building commissioner's office. Subject to any notes from Councilman Canton.
I have not.
That concludes the report.
I have a comment about
What?
inspection solutions.
Oh, you do, yes, you do. So I read your notes, the fiscal officer report. So I'm assuming that we're going to go over the contract amount due to the number of inspections that are occurring in all the building, the remodeling occurring. We had this issue last year too, didn't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
It's coming for next year too, yeah.
Okay. Do you have an amount? It's just a suggestion that was in here.
So we only have 2162 left, but it's so we're gonna need at least 6,000 in retainers, and then he averages about 3,000.
So we're looking at high range, $10,000.
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the contract for inspection solutions not to exceed $10,000 in fiscal year 2024.
Second.
Discussion.
Funds come out of the general fund?
It'll have to come, what will come from the general fund, we'll probably have to amend the appropriations at the next meeting. I'll also look at, how much we have in the zoning inspector's budget, because we haven't used him a lot, so we may not have to amend the budget for that much. So I'll have that prepared for the next council meeting.
I think
Thanks
it's
for taking over.
$7,000 or something like that
Yeah.
for the zoning.
So I'll see where I can pull it from and then what we have to amend for.
Okay.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. For the building department budget, we're probably looking at almost 60 for the inspection solutions for next year.
So that leads us to the question, when was the last time we looked at permit fees? And whether those are appropriate?
We just adjust those actually
We
fairly
did.
recently.
It was within 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they were hiked significantly, as I recall.
okay,
But
Okay,
maybe worth a look at again.
okay.
Next year,
I
honestly.
mean, obviously, as our expenses go up.
Yep.
We can manage that.
okay, any other questions of the building committee? Thank you. We are at the police chief.
Thank you. I have a question regarding trick or treat this year. I've got two communities, I've got Chagrin Lakes and Kensington holding their trick or treat on Saturday, the 26th. What is the village's pleasure on when the rest of the village will have trick or treat? Would we do it on a Saturday and follow those other two communities, or do you want to do it as the traditional Thursday, the 31st?
So are they doing it in the afternoon?
No, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., both communities.
I think Lake Lucerne, Lake Louise does the same thing.
Yeah, we haven't been notified by them yet.
Okay. My suggestion, since people in the West End are clued in with Chagrin, I would stay on Halloween from 6 to 8 for South Russell.
That's the 31st.
Yes.
Okay. We'll put it on our social media.
Yeah, we're getting calls too. I had it under new other, so.
Okay. All right. Also, I've spoken with Danielle. We've got some major projects budgeted for 2024 that may not be completed in 25. The tornado siren upgrade is still waiting on parts. The garage project, you may not get that. You may not break ground for that. And also the crosswalk is still not scheduled to start until December until they get the parts. So we may need to, I don't know how we're gonna work it out and carry it over or however that works, but been talking with Danielle about it. So pretty major projects, a lot of money, and it's supposed to come out of this year's budget. We're gonna need to move it to next year.
Questions of the police chief? We are at the safety committee.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Safety Committee will be meeting on October 17th at 9 a.m. at the station. Councilman Galecki, anything to add?
No, nothing, thank you.
That's all I have.
Questions of the safety committee meeting? We are at the HR committee.
HR met on October 3rd, and the chair did not get her minutes done. I apologize. So summarize what we went over. We had I'm sorry to keep calling you new Tim. We have our Tim, current Tim, the streets commissioner, and we have decided to let him work whatever works for him, crew leader versus foreman, he's gonna work this out as they get used to working with each other. There was quite a bit of discussion over that. If we did go forward with something, we'd have to have a job description and decide how that would go forward. We're gonna let him do his new job. Let's see. He has mentioned he could use some part-time workers, be they retired or just needing part-time work to fill in. And we're looking at that. You would need, again, a job description and pay rate for that. And we talked about what we've already moved to hire Christy Troyer as the person that could, she would be, I want to say a part-time administrative assistant. Is that the correct title? Yeah. And it sounds like streets would want to use maybe a little bit of paperwork thing too. So it would be you, police, building, and that's a four-way split, not a three-way. And we'll see how that works out. Let's see. I think that was about it. And I apologize again for not getting those minutes done for that.
And then can you make a motion to accept Deb's resignation? It's on the agenda.
Yes, I make a motion that,
Can we make it that we acknowledge her resignation,
Thank you.
not accept it?
I move that we acknowledge Deb Ladkey's resignation, and she was extremely helpful to me last summer when we typed up the 100th history. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Mr. Berger, do you have some cleanup?
Nothing to
for
add.
me? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we were at the property committee meeting. Ruth, you're still rolling.
I am rolling downhill, let me tell you. Properties committee, we just met tonight, and that was a joint properties parks. Looking down the list, the mayor gave me quite a list, and I appreciate it. Wetlands is looking a lot better at the park. They have done some things, and that's ongoing. The Daffodil Ladies, I'm sorry, they have, is it the Garden Club? What's their official name, Mayor?
Cat's Den Garden
Cat's Den
Club.
Garden Club. They're going to come and plant another 1,000 daffodil bulbs at Rarick Cemetery on the 16th at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I truly appreciate that, the beautification of a place of rest.
Ruth, where are they planting the bulbs?
That's a good question. I think it's in the front, isn't it?
Tim,
So,
can you, the exact location?
It's down either side of the staircase.
Okay, so this way? Yeah, okay.
1,000 bulbs? Wow.
Well,
Between there and the park, behind the bench.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me, Ruth, did they ask us to rototill the ground like they did the last time?
I don't know. They didn't.
They did.
They did?
Okay.
So we prepped the cemetery already, we have to find very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm behind on that, so thanks. The mayor has a great idea, get the plaque with the Eagle Scout names on it to put somewhere inside the building here, and I'm all for that. That sounds good.
Ruth, eagle and gold for the Girl Scouts.
Of course, how could I forget graduating from high school before Title IX? I apologize. Gold for Girl Scouts
Yes.
and Eagle for Boy Scouts. That is great because it's a lot of work for either one. The pavilion needs roof repairs. We're looking into that. That's still being talked about. That's the end of properties, unless Jerry, you would like to add something?
I believe we had a question from Councilman concerning the restaurant.
Oh, yes, we did. We sure did. That darn restroom. Everything has been ordered, but they want a double check on, did you order this? So I'm filling the paperwork out now. Check, double check, I want a bathroom. And that's where we are. And so I'm working with Tim Young on this. Can't call him our new guy, can't call him new Tim, gotta call him Tim Young. who's been very pleasant to work with. That's properties.
Questions of the property committee? Hearing none, park committee.
Park committee, I should make Jerry do this. Actually, Jerry was very helpful with the Fall Fest last week because I couldn't get there early. Tim and the 3 guys showed up. The ladies did their hot dog duty. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Leslie. It will gladden your heart to know hot dogs may not be a part of it next year. But I appreciate it, and it was a steady stream of people, and the husbands worked as well. Everybody pitched in. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I have a very bad picture of you, Chris Bell, standing by the pavilion, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Because I talk so much, I intend to take pictures and then I don't do it, so. I wanted to thank, we had adult helpers, Catherine Malmquist, Judy Harvey, and Caitlin Specht, who I keep forgetting what that's her maiden name, Specht. They were very helpful and disappointed there wasn't hay rides, but as far as the waivers and the kids, they were very helpful with that, as were others. We had great teenagers, Mr. Bell's son Challen, and I'm just gonna read first names. We had an Audrey, Eveline, Haley, Braden, Jack, and Sedona all pitched in. They were such mannerly good kids. And I wanna thank everybody because warts and all, that was a good Fall Fest.
You have any idea of how many attended?
I have no clue. It
I'd
was
say about
full.
600 because that's about how many hot dogs.
Was it? And all I know is the bus, what's the bus called? The trolley. That was full coming and going just about every time because the guy asked me for hot dogs and I would just walk back and forth. It was busy. He was a busy fellow. And he did a great job as well. Libby Pike, was his name Greg? Greg Pike's, she contracted with all the people, and of course, we couldn't have there was a follow-up with the bouncy houses. She did a yeoman's job in getting everything together. Again, we thank the Cruzies from the bottom of our heart for the cider and the hard work and the setup. They had Todd there all day, Todd Cruzy and Katie Cruzy and their families working.
Nice.
A lot of people pitching in. Appreciate it all across the board. If anybody's watching Zoom, I appreciate all of it.
Well, Ruth, you were quite comprehensive with all your thank yous, so I can't really add
Good.
to all the thank yous. But even though we didn't have the bouncy houses and the hay rides, the children, they were attracted to the playground
And the bubbles
and the ball.
and the pony.
Were we all?
Questions of the park committee? Hearing none, we're at Public Utilities Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Utilities Committee, we have a conflict for this Friday. We would like to change our meeting to the following Friday, which is October 25th at 9 a.m. And that's all we have to report, I think, unless you have something.
The solar project interconnection agreement. I know the mayor signed the original one, which I think went to Yellow Light. And the solicitor provided a revised agreement that changed the indemnification clause in the contract. I don't think we've heard back from Yellow Light on that.
No. I asked him if he wanted, since I'd signed it, and I asked him today if he wanted to send us back one. I haven't heard back from them.
It may not be a pressing issue because the electric work at the police station is yet to be done. So there's time for iron out any interconnection form issues. Once we have the police upgrade done and then the solar connected. Then it's a matter of switching out the meter and going online. And then I'll bring by the IRS form, Danielle, so that we can apply for our reimbursement from the federal government for the completion of the project.
Questions of the Public Utilities Committee? I can tell you though, by sometime later this week, I'll have some new information on Power a Clean Future. So maybe we'll get this untabled, that we can start with the committee meeting on the 25th.
Okay.
All right, we have ordinances, resolutions. As I mentioned, the first one is tabled. The second one, we're going to sell personal property. I don't remember who wants this. Anybody want to do this one?
Sure, I'll do it.
All right,
I'd
you got
like
it.
to introduce and consider for adoption a resolution authorizing the sale of personal property not needed by the village, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Gallicki.
Aye.
Porter.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Gallicki.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Resolution passes. The next one, Mark, you want to keep going? This is the interconnection agreement. Do we want to do this, or we want to wait and see if they come back with something dealing with identification and all that stuff?
This is for the panels?
Well, it's for the connection of solar power to the CEI grid and the backwards running of the meter thing. So we have an agreement, well, let me put it this way. Yellow Light proposed an agreement, the mayor signed it, the solicitor had comments about the indemnification after it went back to Yellow Light. I think we can do the ordinance and include the revised agreement, because that's our official view of the contract.
As long as Yellow Light signs off.
They haven't, I'm sure, well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay,
I'd like to introduce an ordinance approving the interconnection agreement between the Village of South Russell and the Illuminating Company, authorizing the mayor to execute. Shouldn't this be a ratification?
No, as
Okay.
I understood it, I thought that Yellow Light or the illuminating company had not signed. Is that not accurate?
It came signed from them, I thought.
I don't think it was.
I don't know. I think it started with
It was
us.
This is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement in the sense of carry out the agreement, I suppose, right? Since he's already signed it.
Well, my hope is that Yellow Light will come back with a new contract that we sign.
Is it easier just to table this issue?
Yes, but it's okay to do
You
it the
know,
other way.
it seems like there's so many questions about it.
Well, there's only one question. The question is, are changes to the contract acceptable to Yellow Light?
To the contract.
Well, and keep in mind, the indemnity one is kind of the deal breaker, right? So I would not ratify the mayor's signature on that agreement at this point.
Okay.
So he's just introducing it anyway.
Introduce it, first reading.
Yeah, we're going to just introduce and do the first reading. So picking up where I left off, authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement declaring an emergency. First reading.
Okay. Need a motion to ratify the bills list. Mr. Berger, we got two sets
Can
here.
I defer this to Councilman Blakey? Can you handle that?
Sure, Chris, thanks. I'd like to make a motion to ratify the bills list of September 29th, 2024, in the amount of $68,252.70, and approve the October 15th, 2024 bills list in the amount of $419,543.07. So moved.
Second.
Bell.
Just all is discussion.
Roll call,
Roll
please.
call. Fine, roll call.
Aye.
Berger.
Abstain.
Canton.
Abstain.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Gallicki.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we are at new other.
I just wanted to add one thing for new other. Earlier this year, we had under 300 on our e-blast and we now have over 1,000.
All right.
So I think we got the word out that that's how we're rolling forward.
Are you, do you have to pay your son $1 for every person he signed up for the e-blast?
He didn't do that one. We had the girl do that one. But yeah, she did. She went around to people at the Fall
Oh,
Festival.
I didn't know you were doing that. That's great.
Mhm,
Multitasking.
mhm.
You know what, Jerry, let's call Halloween a safety issue, and if you do the motion.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to approve the date and time for Halloween trick or treat. That was set
Which is?
for October 31st,
6 to 8 p.m.
from 6 to 8 p.m.
Moved, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We need a motion to go into an executive session.
Well,
We
we
need
still
new
got
other-
to do the new other.
New other.
I just
Well,
had to give my,
Jumped it, all right, that's
Just
a
a-
different
um,
location, all right.
the new other.
New other, thank you to the Parks Committee and Ruth and Jerry and all the volunteers. Thank you so much. Wasn't the event we totally wanted, but still wonderful to have in our village.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I
I
have.
don't think I
Great
thanked the
job.
police for standing there.
None.
Canton,
Nothing.
Kavanaugh.
Yes, I neglected to mention, just remind everyone, another meeting, a week from tonight. This is going to be about the park master plan. Do we actually burn something? Do we mow and leave it? Kind of messy. That has been proposed. I've forgotten what Mr. Washington's name is.
Rich, Washington.
Rich Washington and Pete McDonald are gonna be there, so it's gonna be a group, and that's a week from tonight, starting at 6:30. And I will be there, and Jerry will be in Vermont. That's it.
And we don't have a majority of council members going, right? Just the park committee.
park, yeah, people don't have to come, just if I can strong arm them into it.
Okay. And Galicki, new other.
Yeah, I just kind of piggybacking on something Ruth mentioned about the burn. Did we glean anything from that burn training that we were sending some people to?
I didn't go, I can't answer that. Mayor?
No, no one went,
Did we pay for it?
yes.
Is that
Nothing
all?
further.
Okay, Porter.
Just one thing, for streets committee's next meeting, Chris, I have a conflict on, the first Thursday in November.
Okay.
Can we, can we move it to, the 14th? Which is Thursday, the 14th?
Building meeting that day. You want to do? The 15th isn't going to work. Could you? 21?
The 21st, Monday?
Or do you want
I'm sorry, what am I looking at?
Thursday the 21st?
He's in.
November 21st. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
November 21st at 7:30, streets committee.
Yes.
Is that okay with you?
Is that all right with you, Tim?
And so, yeah.
Commissioner, is that okay with you?
Yes.
So you said the 21st, 7:30.
21st is
And you're
7:30
moving it from the 7th.
from the 7th.
And that's all in the order.
Okay, now we need a motion to go into executive session for the discussion of financial benefits for a public employee.
Actually, the motion should be go into executive session for the discussion of compensation of a public employee and then to invite in to invite in the mayor, the fiscal officer, the solicitor if you need, and then also exclude a member of council, that would be Dennis, as I understand.
So moved.
So moved.
Under.
And who was the second?
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Galicki.
Recused.
Porter.
Aye.
Let's go into executive session around 8:25, so it gives us 5